Listener discretion is advised.
Hello there everyone and welcome to TakenOffAir. We are back again for another dose of random bullshit and also a nice little rant this week because we have been trying to spread our wings and engage with audiences and also get people listening by going on Twitter and other social medias and sort of advertising ourselves.
Shameless self-promotion.
Yes, shameless self-promotion. Everybody loves it. And we've had some interesting replies, which Jay will be going into detail about later.
Oh God, we're going to lose a lot of female listeners for this. Again, if we do lose that kind of... we are going to lose a lot of people who think it has the same mindset. It's only
not a loss.
It's not a loss
I
to us.
believe that if people have the same mindset, they probably won't be listening to us.
Yeah, probably.
Nah.
I mean, especially if they had the exact same mindset, because then they wouldn't even be listening at all, ever, to us.
Exactly.
So,
Because
they'll
we're
never
not
know.
funny because we're men. So if we're not funny, why listen to it? Because we're certainly not fucking helpful.
We aren't.
Nah, we definitely are. They are the worst people.
What bad people
actually,
bad
no.
influence. Apart from Kyle.
Why do you mean apart from Kyle? Is that just like apart from Kyle, he is a bad influence and he's not funny or what? What's going on here? I don't know.
You decipher that how you want to.
And that's for you to decipher.
Your glow stick's only half glow.
Yeah, why you got glow
It's
sticks
because
around
it's
your
two
mic
glow
anyway?
sticks. It's two glow sticks connected. I thought it would look pretty. One of them's been in the light too long. Apparently, with glow sticks, if you just leave it in a light for too long, it will eventually lose its glowiness, even if you haven't snapped it. Because I've got a couple that I just sort of keep as an emergency supply if the lights go out. I've got them hanging next to my lamp.
You say
Most
emergency
people like
supply, the
cars
lights
when
go
they
out.
have a power cut. Kyle just has a fucking glow stick. He has a rave.
I've got a lightsaber which I can use. I've got candles all over the house, and I've also got a packet of glow sticks. So my room will be lit up like a Christmas tree if there's a power
Like
outage.
a disco.
It's like a rave.
Yeah. Fucking glow sticks.
It is.
Everyone likes a bit of a wave, you know. It's just...
Not
I
just
don't.
randomly in the middle of power cuts. So.
In all fairness,
I mean, to be honest, power cuts are probably one of the best times for using glow sticks and stuff. You're going to get the best effectiveness out of them.
Yeah.
There's no lights to interfere.
in all fairness, with my neighbour out the back, like it'll legit every other night or every time he drives home, his music's airing, and
On the
it's
back of your house.
yeah, and it's not
Everybody
even good,
has a
decent
neighbour
music
like
either.
that,
I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind if it was decent music.
Oh, that's like there's people that live out the back of here and you hear them drive past and they're like in a fucking... It's like a 45-year-old man in a 4x4 with like his window open thinking he's 15 and playing absolutely shit music at the loudest stereo can go, which probably isn't very loud, but it's loud enough to be annoying. And
Yeah.
it's just like, if you're going to do that, at least put on good music because you just look like a knob.
All you can hear is...
Yeah.
You know what's even worse? It's like when you just like sit in a
Kyle, alright.
you're happily sitting having a coffee and a car will pull up and it's a delivery lad for a few houses down and he's playing absolute like actual good tunes as loud as he can, but he's got a blown out speaker so all you can hear zzz, 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 like a fucking bumblebee has decided to join the band.
You know what's even worse? When you hear right, and then you just hear this almighty fucking racket like a fucking jet fighter is taking off outside your house. But it's the world's slowest jet fighter because it takes it 10 minutes to pull out the junction and across the front of your house and away because it's so slow. And all it is a fucking Renault Megane people carrier with the exhaust that fell off.
No, Fiat 500, the amount of times I've followed a Fiat 500 on the Spine Road, which has had its exhaust snapped off or something, so all you hear is...
Probably
just sounds like a little angry... It sounds like an angry bee.
It's probably the boss. That's what they're basically are, angry bees called.
Yeah. I was going to say angry beetle, but it basically is a beetle, so...
Beetle.
I mean, it looks the same as a beetle to me, or close enough. A beetle looks slightly better.
You're talking about like an actual beetle, like an insect, or the Volkswagen beetle.
The Volkswagen beetle. The
Volkswagen Beetle.
When Jay says it sounds like he's saying Fagswagen.
And then he says beetle like some kind of weird child.
Beetle like who? Mate, I'm gonna beat your little 1.2 Corsa in my Beetle.
Oh, Kylie's picking it. It's a 1.4.
I've got no idea what it is. I just know it's blue.
No, it is a 1.4, Kyle. Go on, Kyle. I've got your back here. It's the only time I've ever defended a question in my life.
He's just sat there saying, "Well, it could be a 1.2 for all I know. All I know is the engine in there. I turned the key, it goes boom, boom." And
Honestly, I'd have to look out the window. Every time you've got one of those things where it's like you're doing car insurance or anything like that, and it's like, put in your car's details. I'm sitting there going, let's just look out the window of my car and have a look and see what my car is.
we've got a hair, guys.
Kyle.
Hello. Can you see this chat? Yes, we can. We can definitely see that chat.
Hello, how
Yes,
are
hello.
you?
You can't see the chat. Kyle probably won't take any notice of it, but you can't see it.
I'm going to keep it up because there's no need keeping your names up.
Kyle.
Although it does slightly cut off part of stuff
In
for
all
me.
fairness, this is the only issue about this application and software is they spent ages like advertising the fact, oh, there's a new update to it. Then they made update, like there's a lot of stuff out, we can put a logo on the top now, and we have a new way to edit and process and to actually download local files.
There's no audible noise when you get it.
But there's no audible noise, and
Just
everyone's anonymous, so we don't know how many people are watching on this software. We know how many people are watching on the
Or who's talking to her.
we know how many people are watching on the Facebook and the Twitter and that. You guys already talk about that girl.
I'm assuming it's Jordan because it's someone who knows about the topic. So it's either Jordan or
I'm
Ashley.
Kyle from the Trav and Rigney Show. Hello.
Hello. We've got there's a fellow Kyle. It's the army of Kyles. We are uniting against
No, one
people.
Kyle's enough.
No, I sent him a message and he never replied. I was like, oh, okay, fair enough, cool.
Don't pick on him when he's talking to you. You're supposed to say that when he's not listening.
Exactly. It's
It
the
is the
British way. Write an angry letter.
Kyle, you make
The thing
everyone
is
sound
about
dubious.
the thing is about the British way about being angry is I write a letter. It'll get there in 5 days. You know how angry I'll be in 5 days' time. I'll see you later. Goodbye. And you just bug us off. And 5 days later, you get a letter.
The British way is to have pre-written letters for every circumstance that you just need to edit tiny bits in, and then you just hand them the letter.
Just handed a letter.
I don't think I'm British because I don't do letters. I just shout at people.
This is why
angry.
I write pages upon pages of shit, and only tiny amounts of it is actually any good in my mind. So
I like writing. I'm so lazy.
the thing is, it's like
I like writing, but it takes too long. Like, by the time I've finished writing the thought that was in my head, I've already had 10 other thoughts and I've forgotten them as well. So it's too slow. I need something that can just transcribe what's in my head. I need a cable that goes into my brain, and then it just transcribes everything
this is where
instantly
Kyle's
for us.
gonna.
Someone out there, a scientist somewhere out there, make it for me. I just
No.
need a plug-in socket in the
No.
brain, and then it
scientists
transcribes
help
everything.
Kyle. It's dangerous.
It's not. There's nothing
is.
bad can happen from me doing science.
And Jay, it's not. It's his co-host.
Yeah.
You have to.
We're not being a we're not being a dick to anyone. We're just saying how like it's a British way to be late.
Well, that's a lie. You're talking.
Well, Kyle from Twitter, from the lovely Twitter of the Trav and Rigney Show. I'm sorry if I spoil your name there.
Oh, not this Kyle.
Crazy, that girl said, she said, no, right, it was. You can join in the call, you can, there should be a call button for you if you want to join in.
We haven't talked about the topic yet. So if you join in, we can just immediately go on to that, and Jay can have his 8-page rant that he's done, which is the most British thing in the world, to be honest, is write down a 8-page
Can I just say,
8-page rant.
I still don't really know what happened because all the messages that Jay put into
Group chat were blurry.
our group chat were totally blurry and unreadable.
They were blurry and a bit unreadable, but I think some phones handle it better than others, because with mine, I could just barely make out what they were saying, so I could see.
Yeah.
But with all the interference and stuff, some of them were actually really hard to read, but I sort of got the gist of the story from Jay anyway. You could sort of tell what was going on.
Right, I've got print screens. She deleted a lot of things on Twitter as well, because she blocked me. She blocked other people, but like, I thought, I don't know, I've got like other Twitter accounts that I run for like other side businesses and side hustles. Whoa, taxman on the way here. And basically, I thought, you know what, I'll go and stalk a profile, take print screens and write on my blog, because like a lot of people were using my name in searches. So I thought, okay. So I wrote a blog post, and the original post
is Jay
I am your Karen.
Jay is our
She's annoyed as I'm
Karen.
just going to stalk her and come out with outrageous things.
In
Where's our
Australia.
manager?
The sad thing is, I'm pretty sure the male equivalent of a Karen is called a Kyle.
God damn it, Kyle. Jay, you're
sure-
a Kyle.
I'm
Oh
sure
god,
it
there's
is.
3 Kyles. What's up?
Jay Google it, but I'm sure it is. I'm sure the male
I thought it was
equivalent
something
of
like
a
a Colin
Karen.
or something. That seems like it.
Because you've got the Chad and everything,
Kyle
don't you?
is the guy who drinks too much. Yeah,
Monster and punches a hole in his
that's the
wall, saying, "Look at
stereotypical of a Kyle. Then you've got a Chad who is basically in his 30s, still acting like he's like 18. He's basically the courser driver of America.
So you're a chat as well. You're living up to that as well, Kyle. Do you know what, Kyle? Do you know what I was going to say? Right? I'm going to talk about your car for a second, and I'm not going to be a dick about it. Right?
Oh! A male Karen is called an Ian. An Ian is a middle-aged white man that finds it necessary to hurl abuse at women who believe there is an issue with male-orientated violence.
We're Ians.
I have an uncle. We don't hurl abuse at women, we hurl abuse at everyone.
I'm not an Ian, but apparently there's also the male equivalents also include Kyle, Ken, Kevin, and Steve.
Pedophile name.
I could go to Kevin as well. Why are you just picking on my family here?
We are.
No, that's just coincidence. I apologise for that. Right, basically, let's get on this lovely woman. No, she's not a woman. She's a. She's a girl.
Don't say that.
We don't want to get on her. She wouldn't let us. She doesn't want anything to do with men.
That's the problem we've got, guys.
I use lovely in a static sense of like no. Okay, basically, this last called Ashley Betteridge. She posted a thing on Twitter.
We're actually
calling her out. I thought you were going to have a rant. I didn't know you were calling her out.
I thought we were just going to call her Ash or something. I didn't realise we were going to call her full name.
My missus is called Ashley, so like every time I say I can't just call her Ash or Ashley, because like normally in the previous episodes when we say Ash or Ashley, we meant about my Ash or my Ashley.
You know you
said like A.
You know you can't just say A, or you could give her like a different name and say we'll just call her Karen or something like that.
Ashley Betteridge Karen.
You've already said her name.
Call her Karen now.
It's a bit late.
No, I don't know. I can bleep this out in post editing. I can't bleep out the live stream.
Okay.
Can you?
Okay, so we're gonna call her Karen. Everybody in the live stream, you can go and investigate Jay's blog and see who it actually is. But for now, we're just gonna call her Karen.
I didn't hear that previous part. Why name?
Right. So we've got like, according to our analytics, we've got a lot of listeners on Spotify and in India and that, but not many of them follow us on Twitter. So I was trying to promote our Twitter page. Try to get people to come listen and try to get more followers on Twitter and all that jazz. On that jazz. Some people who do follow us on Twitter should know that I was in a dispute between Karen, and other podcasters because she was targeted by a target market strategy in hopes to gain more audience. She was under our demographic to what we assumed with her initial tweet. Her initial tweet, which stated, needs some podcast recommendations to stop me thinking about 2020. Pop culture / funny / mysterious, preferred rather than intellectual. Now, if you're a regular listener to our podcast and our show, and you've been, you know we're not far from fucking intellectual.
I mean, we're sort of intellectual in the fact of we give you topics that usually have to do with history and stuff, so you can learn something. It's just we're not intellectual at the way we go about anything.
I can be intellectual. You know that dinosaurs probably just sounded like birds.
No, I think
the whole
I think that
Velociraptors
sound like cats because cats are supposed to be descendants of Velociraptors.
No, dinosaurs. So the way they don't have vocal cords are the same as like any other mammal, so they wouldn't be able to roar like mammals do, like lions and tigers. So they would sound like birds. They've got a similar voice box to what birds would have. So to T-Rex protecting its territory and having an argument with another T-Rex would just sound like some.
It would just be going.
Basically, yeah.
I can sort of imagine most dinosaurs sound like alligators or crocodiles. You know, that weird sort of.
But have you heard like alligators
sort of
when they do that kind
type
of
thing?
That kind of roll and kind of roar, like burble thing.
Yeah.
It's really kind of visceral and primal.
Yeah, that's what I can sort of assume, like imagine a lot of dinosaurs sound like, because they're the sort of the closest thing to dinosaurs we've got, other than the birds and sharks.
Right, hell, we'll have to talk about something else because we've been too intellectual. It's not us.
We've been too intellectual.
We are being too intellectual.
If you're a regular listener to our podcast, you can know that we fit in most of these into most of these categories. Yes, that's the word I was looking for. Categories. Fair enough. We might not be funny to some people. We might be fucking hilarious to others. But it is. But the comedic value of our podcast is subjective to what people find funny or not. You know, because comedy is some sort of form of expressionism. Everything can be joked about, despite if it is a serious issue or not. The world is a fucked up place, and we seriously need to have a look on the bright side of things. And this is what which is what I personally believe this podcast is about. We find horrible topics and topics that has never been heard of, or very, very, very few. Like, I don't know, Kyle, you should know this. Stuff that's very rarely seen on internet because it's all. Political shit. Political shit, yes.
Political.
I've lost me footnotes here, sorry. I've lost me
You've lost your train of thoughts because you were trying to say political.
Apparently we've been told that
straight men on funny. That's one of the things she said. It's not homophobic.
It is sort of homophobic because it's saying that only gay men can be good at this. So it's technically homophobic. It is a way. It's sort of in the same way that you can't be racist to a white person.
No, it'll be classed as
even though racism is usually assumed to
heterophobic. But
heterophobic.
We were being put under a blanket of straight white males, and then right. What's even worse, this blanket. She deleted this tweet, but I still got a print screen of it. Right, we've been put underneath this blanket of straight white males, then we're compared to being rapists.
Hold on though, but before we go any further,
that's the thing. I have no idea, like how she knew we're straight.
I mean, especially if the profile picture that she was looking at is Jay's, because let's be honest, Jay does look a little bit like
He
is quite camp in his photos, but he's very much a poser type thing because of his photography
it's not photography background. I'm just a face. I'm just a face cunt.
You are, but to be fair, you are like a cuddly teddy bear type thing.
Is, right? So. Because we were compared to being rapists because we fit underneath this blanket by this toxic feminist, like Karen has put us under. She has started to oppress the straight white male kind of term, and it's starting to become a bit of a hate crime. Fair enough. When I saw the term when she said like a reply to this with straight men aren't funny. Men aren't funny. I was like, okay, fair enough. Your comment has been noted. Well done. Then I realised she was doing it to like all other male-hosted podcasts, literally starting to hate on them just because of the sex.
Yeah, so Kyle had said in our chat that it was, what was it he said?
I don't know, we'll have to go through with chats and find it now, don't we?
I started talking before I looked at what was it. He said that if she said she never wanted to listen to men, then fair enough, she could have stayed.
That's true.
That would have been fine. But obviously she didn't.
So she's...
Yeah, that's the thing. She never said specifically, I just want like female-hosted podcasts or anything like that, or like podcasts specifically aimed at like one sort of subject or women. She never mentioned anything like that at all. All that happened was she said she was looking for podcasts. It had to be funny type thing. Jay responded on our account, on our TakenOffAir account, saying like basically advertise and saying like, well, you could give us a listen, and then the straight up response was
it.
men
I
on.
sent you the print screen and I was going to ignore it until I seen that she was being quite hateful towards other men on Twitter. It's like, okay, you're starting to become oppressive and you're becoming a bit of a hate crime. Then she started to like get abused apparently, when no one was abusing her, and they were like lecturing her about, you asked and we answered, that's all we did, there's no need to give us abuse. And then she deleted half the tweets, and then she posted a tweet saying that she was being abused by men on Twitter, and it's bad to be a female on Twitter because of men. And then she start tweeting some contradictory terms by saying like, oh, it's just fragile masculinity. It's like, how the fuck? I'm not. The thing is, right? I understand the term fragile.
I get the feeling
masculinity. I know people personally, and I'm sure you guys know people personally who do fit under the terminology of fragile masculinity. But we are the most unmasculine people I know.
Give them that as well, like you.
Exactly. In college, I literally used to walk arm in arm with one of my mates going up the street, and everybody used to think we were dating because we used to do it.
Hold on, you used to do what?
Walk around arm in arm and stuff.
I thought I'd missed something.
No. I mean, we did spoon.
Kyle,
we did
don't
spoon
start
once,
the
but that's
spoon
about
conversation, because like, we're going to end up spooning again. That was my point. She knew fuck all and still discriminated against everyone involved. TakenOffAir and the Trav and Rigney Show. It is quite. It's
regardless of what the discrimination is against, regardless of it being about men against straight men especially, and against numerous men and having to go at a lot of people in one go. And then complaining when people fight back, kind of thing. At the end of the day, it's still the fact it's discrimination's the issue. You can't just say that because you are a straight male, you are not funny, and you target them.
Yeah,
like you responded to a tweet.
No, wait.
Where does
the anger apparently came from? Because like I sent her an email because I got sick of being blocked and being accused of abusing her when I wasn't abusing her. I've even put this on my own personal website. You can go check this out, jfernlison.net. It's literally there. The whole conversation print screen. I am a producer of this podcast and many other things. Leave me alone. So I put the whole conversation on there, every single print screen, every single reply I sent to her. I even sent her an email calling her childish and a toxic feminist. Right? I'm all for feminists. Right? I agree that all sexes should be equal. We are human. We all should be equal. Equal pay, equal everything.
Yes,
fair enough.
I agree as well. Yeah, I agree totally. It's not just for feminism either. I believe every single human being should be treated equally. It doesn't matter.
Everyone's victims to Kyle. It doesn't matter what you look like.
Well, that's the thing. One of the key things that we've said on this show is that it's not that we are like that we hate on or shit on one specific demographic. We hate everybody, so we shit on everybody. It's sort of the same case of we treat everybody equally. It doesn't matter if you're a man, woman, white, black, Asian, non-Asian, anything like that. It doesn't matter. You're the same to me. You can walk up to me and say hello, and I'll treat you exactly the same way. It doesn't matter what height you are, what age you are, what race you are, what sex you are, anything like that. I mean, I've got a friend who's got split personalities, 3 of which are female and 2 of which are male. It gets confusing as fuck sometimes.
You said
but
3
absolutely adore
personalities.
it.
2 of them are female and 2 of them are male. That's 4, isn't it? Okay, fair enough.
Sorry, it's got 5
Kyle
personalities.
can't count. It's just a point. Like
I can't count.
He's not here to count.
I've explained to myself in so many past episodes when we get onto equality and everything. It's just a point that I base my life on egalitarian values. If you treat me nice, I'm going to treat you nice. But the moment you start...
Which is ironic, because you're really big.
But the moment you start being a cunt to me, I'm going to be a cunt back to you. So I sent her... Yeah,
which is what's happened to this woman.
I sent her an email because I was sick of being blocked. So I thought, no, what?
You should be thankful he's been a cunt.
You haven't blocked me yet. So I sent an email calling her childish and calling her she's toxic to the feminist movement. She print screened it, posted it on her Twitter saying, "Oh, this is all because I won't listen to your podcast." It's like, no, you took it out of context. Now people. Yeah, she's playing victim. She started a fight she cannot finish. She cannot accept the fact that she's wrong. She can't accept the fact that she's going to be told that she's wrong. My sex doesn't matter. I could be a fucking female for all she knows. I could identify as a female. I could identify as a giraffe. I could identify as anything. She had no right to assume what I...
You couldn't identify as a giraffe, Jay.
I identify
all
as
animals you could have picked.
But my point is, I could identify as anything. The fact that she used my sex as a discriminative term just to make me feel little about myself, and I'm only 5'3". How can I feel little? Just to the point that she said, "Oh, I've lost my train of fucking thought again. For fuck's sake!"
But you've never felt little before, Jay.
Just because she discriminated against your sex and said that you were a straight male and that males
like,
can't be funny or any of that shit.
That's the thing. I know for a fact I am the funniest cunt you ever seen. Funny looking, that's... I'm not like humorous funny, I'm just
funny
like
looking, yeah.
Funny looking. But basically the whole idea is like it's hate crime. So I thought I'll send her an email. She tweeted the email after that bit. Footnotes. The whole thing is like I hate people like her who will start a fight and haven't got the guts to follow it up. Because she's using her sex against my sex. She's playing the victim, saying I was abusive. I was using my fragile masculinity against her female, her feminine her feminism. Which I wasn't. I was telling her the difference between statistic, for fuck's sake, marketing and other marketing.
Jay, I can see why you email people now and not talk to them.
Statistics is the word you're looking for.
He was going for femininity and gave up and said feminism.
I love that Kyle's randomly rubbing his elbows.
This is where we'll let him flounder.
Just make sure he's only rubbing his elbows above the camera length.
It's because he was saying there's not a funny bone in the body. It's like, is there not? I thought it was here.
That's because Jay said humorous. That's why I said that. I was trying to be funny, but you just ignored it because Jay was on a rant.
I didn't ignore it. I was just literally trying to find where my funny bone was when you said it, because I was like, I'm sure. Is it this one or this one?
Jay said he's humorous, and I said he didn't have a funny bone in his body. I was being funny. Jay was being ranty, so it's usually
I was paying no attention, but yeah. No. But at the end of the day,
he was too busy going to war.
At the end of the day, she shouldn't have been using her sex against my sex or my sex against her sex. It had nothing to do with it. I was trying to tell her that she was targeted because she asked for a specific, like a certain podcast, which I believe we do fit under.
Well, that's the thing. I don't even think it's right to say targeted. She wasn't targeted for anything. You just responded to a tweet that was put out. You didn't go and target her. You didn't go onto her Twitter and say, come and watch this and spam her. There was no targeting involved. You saw a tweet that you thought our show applied to, and you responded to it. She could have watched it. She could have chose not to listen to it and said she doesn't want to or whatever. That's fine. Or she could have decided to listen to it, then decided it's not for her and not. That's fine. But you don't need to personally attack people, especially when you don't know them.
Yeah, it's basically like posting a job advert, and then when the job applications come in, responding to all the ones that were for like even if there was specialised in that area, just responding to all the ones you didn't like by going no fuck off type thing.
Jay's either having cat or children trouble. I'm not sure.
I think both.
Should we just move on when it's not
Jay's
here?
household.
Everybody comes back, he always rants over.
I mean, we can do. I've got flowers to talk about, which Jay reminded us about.
Yeah, I'm quite intrigued about this because he said remind us about flowers, and then shared a screen of flowers before and didn't say anything about it.
So I'm going to show you. These are highlighted as pink Indian pipes on the thing, so you should be able to see them there. They do. I'm not 100% sure. I just know that they're of a certain type of plant, which uses mesoheterotrophy instead of normal photosynthesis to grow, and it basically comes from the same sort of category as parasitical plants.
Yeah, so they live off other plants.
Yeah, it's a symbiotic relationship between certain plants and fungi, in which the plants get all or part of its food from basically being a parasite upon the fungi, rather than actually having photosynthesis. So it's sort of they rely on each other type thing, where they'll each give each other nutrients type thing.
You know what I do know, Kyle? The largest single living organism on Earth is fungi. There's a certain type of fungi.
Yeah, fungi are absolutely. They're very interesting and absolutely amazing when you actually start reading up on them. Despite the fact that I don't like to taste them and I don't like eating them, they are very interesting and intriguing because the amount of stuff that they do. Loads of them have got healing properties. You've got the parasitical ones. You've got all these interesting ones that are just absolutely crazy. I mean, this mesoheterotrophy is considered a kind of cheating relationship because the mesoheterotrophs are sometimes informally referred to as microhizzle cheetahs.
Microhizzle. Snoop Dogg named these.
It literally says microhizzle. So I think he did. I think Snoop named these fuckers.
When did Snoop become a scientist?
I think you definitely have missed something.
I mean, to be honest, it's Snoop. You would not be surprised, would you?
I think we've got off topic, Kyle.
Just a little bit, but yeah, basically, like the full microheterotrophy exists when, like, basically the plant cannot photosynthesize at all. It doesn't have chlorophyll or has a lacking photosystem or anything like that, so it gets all its food from the fungi that it becomes a parasite off of, which is, I believe, a case of these pink Indian pipes. I don't know if that's the actual name. It's just what came up when
majority of our audience is in.
That's racist.
Actually, no. I only noticed that they were called that when I was loading up this image. It's the image that comes up on Wikipedia for these.
Kyle's been on Wikipedia again. This is dangerous.
But the partial or facultative. Mesoheterotrophy is when the plant can photosynthesize, but it still parasitizes. It's still parasitic on fungi as a supplementary food supply. It's basically like a plant decide. It's like a fucking vegan deciding, you know what, I'm going to try a burger. It's like a plant is growing, but for some reason there's a lot of shade in its area, like a tree's growing over it. So it needs to find something else to feed on. So it decides, okay, there's a fungi next to us, I'm just going to eat that instead.
There's a fungi next to us.
Which I think is absolutely amazing. There's also plants such as some orchids that are non-photosynthetic and obligately heterotrophic, for part of their life. Yeah, the heterotrophic. It's because Jay made a new word.
I went for a piss, and next thing I know, there's pink flowers. Yeah. And I love how
Welcome to Kyle
Kyle's
Beaton
got has like somehow felt my like work upness and made it up to like to the point that he stood us over his words. So this is new.
You're having a bad effect on my
I know. It's one of the things I noticed when listening to her back. I hate the fact that I stutter so much during those recording sessions, and I try not to. And what I've noticed is I can be perfectly fine until Jay starts stuttering, and then it's fucking infectious, and it comes over to me. But yes, I was talking about orchids. Yes,
you were.
they'll be parasitical for half of their life cycle, or part of it, and then they will be able to photosynthesize for the rest of the life cycle. So it's sort of they'll start. I don't know whether it's the start out and then they become photosynthetic, like they gain it halfway through the lifespan, or if it's the other way around. But it's just, I find it quite interesting that some plants will literally be unable to photosynthesize, and then at some point during their life, they'll gain that ability and then no longer rely on being a parasite.
So, because if you think about how plants work anyway, they have to come up to the start. The plants that start as a bulb, especially, come up from the dirt or from a seed, come up from the dirt, sprout leaves pretty early on so that they can photosynthesize. I would assume it's the beginning of the being that is unable to photosynthesize, and then they gain that ability, but later than most plants.
Yeah,
makes sense.
It could be wrong.
I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jay.
Well, this thing, it does look like it's usually these plants are the plants that grow in the sort of environment that a normal plant that photosynthesizes just wouldn't be able to grow in. So it's usually shady areas. That's the type of environment that fungi love.
Shady areas.
Yeah. But yeah, it's that type of thing. Interestingly enough, though, there's some non-photosynthetic plants that aren't classed as heterotrophic, because instead it doesn't actually parasite. It's not a parasite on fungi or anything like that. It's sort of it parasitizes the vascular tissue of other plants, which somehow doesn't class it underneath this version of being a parasite, because it's not parasiting a different organism. It's literally just other plants of the same sort of variety, and it just steals life from them instead.
Yeah.
So it's sort of cannibalizing plants. So even though we do think of cannibalism and parasites and stuff like that as very much a animal kingdom, and this is what animals and like moving creatures do, plants, fungi, all these types of things do it as well. It's just at an extremely slower rate.
Season 2 started. Have you ever realised that we have started to go a lot more dark and keep going back to the term of cannibalism?
Kyle's finding cannibal plants.
This is because we did a fucking serial killer episode.
At the very end of season 1. Then we had 2 bonus episodes, the Christmas episode, the second Christmas episode, and the second New Year's episode. Then we had season 2 start. And then ever since we started going back to season 2, we end up going back on ourselves to being cannibals. Are we like trying to tell the world that we are going to eat people, and we're going to become like the royal family?
Well, I mean, Kyle does bring it up a lot.
No, it's just that cannibalism is usually an interesting subject, same as parasites and stuff like that. It's the equilibrium of the world. It's sort of like how you can see sharks going around with little fish attached to it, and you think, why isn't that shark just eat the little fish? And then when you actually research the subject, it's because the little fish will eat the smaller little fucking infections and shit like that on the shark and keep the shark clean. So the shark just decides, fuck it, you're a good fish, I'm going to keep you around.
Kyle's argument, I'm not a cannibal, sharks don't eat the little fish.
I'm keeping these people around because they're useful to me.
Well, no, it's I'm interested in the sort of symbiosis.
What use do we have?
I'm interested in symbiosis and all that sort of thing of two things that should not get along together, or you think would probably eat each other, or just leave each other alone, somehow connecting to become like either helping each other or feasting on each other or anything like that. I just sort of enjoy those sorts of things. It's one of the reasons I kind of love the Venom films, is basically because it is that entire concept.
When you said symbiosis.
It's not the concept. Why am I talking about concepts for? For fuck's sake, man, Jay. Basically, going back to the cannibalistic race, there's like humans used to be cannibal. We used to be cannibalized. We used to eat other people. We cannibalized.
I wonder what caramelized human like tastes like. Has any cannibals ever tried that?
That's going to be my guess.
Honey roasted human.
Oh, God. This is going to be so interesting. But basically, humans aren't people to be socialized. No. Humans aren't animals that aren't supposed to live in a society. We lived in tribes. We lived in tribes of people we know, and a maximum of between 100 to 200 people. That's about it. Yeah, it's far.
Which is far too fucking many in my eyes.
Yes, it is.
About 10 is the maximum for me.
We have evolved into. We have evolved to be into a form of like we need these to be social interactions, and we're not used to it. It's been 1,000 years, like nearly 1,000, over 1,000. It's been so long that since we were like, I gave up. Since we were like top, like we were cave.
You give up there.
Welcome to time travel with Jay. It's 1,000 years, so long ago.
It's 1,000 and 2,000. Fuck it, it's been a long time.
It's been a long time since humans were in a natural happy environment. So we've decided to build buildings and build roads and build a society and build currency, and this is why like so many people are facing like crisis moments of being depressed and anxious. It's because we haven't evolved yet to be used to the idea of being socialized with so many people, and to the point where we all feel anxious enough we need to be liked by so many people to feel accepted and wanted. It's unnatural for humans to do what we're doing right now. Yeah, talk to you. Well, not
talk. Feels unnatural.
It is very much the whole thing of you're sort of thrown into the. It's one of the reasons I hate going into a city. I live sort of in the countryside. I am surrounded by fields on all sides. When I walk to the shop, I'll be amazed if I walk past 5 people max.
Who's he? Do you pass them a lot?
So most of the time, it's usually just a couple of people, and a lot of the time, it's just someone sitting in the garden cleaning the car or something. So it's not even like someone I'm passing on the street. It's literally they're in their own place. I enjoy this because it means there's no real interaction or anything. I go to the store, I talk to the person in the store, and that's it. I hate the whole thing of being in a city or a town or anything, like just walking through a city centre like London or anything like that is just absolutely disgusting to me.
London is disgusting.
And it's absolutely horrifying because there's far too many people in such an enclosed space, and it sort of forces you to interact with people because you can guarantee you're going to bump into someone or you're going to end up having to get out of the way of someone, and it's just absolutely.
Do you know what I've noticed?
Annoying.
And I feel like I'm pretty sure you can second this. Jay will be able to as well. Is that, like you said, a place where it's so crowded, it's disgusting, you're forced to interact with people. They're the places where everyone doesn't want to interact with each other and everybody's arrogant assholes. And then where we live, you never see anyone, but when you do bump into someone, they're like, oh, you're right. Well,
yeah, there's the thing. You can go around. You'll be in a really busy building or train or something, and people will literally ignore each other and they'll hate each other. You say hi to someone and they'll give you a look like you've just stabbed them in the fucking chest.
Stop stabbing people, okay?
But if you like where I live, where you only see like 3 people max on a walk, or 5 people or whatever, if you walk past and say hi, you'll get a cheery hi back and everything like that. You'll see people just stopping and talking to each other and just having a quick chat about whatever the fuck's going on, the weather or whatever, just because it's a more friendly environment because you're not stuck interacting with people all day constantly. It's a nice rarity, and that's the way it should be. I think that's the way human interaction would be better, is the nice rarity. You don't have to bump into people constantly. You're not constantly seeing hundreds of people in your vision. You're just seeing one or two. Country folks are always more friendly than city folks.
When I'm working down in London, I always get asked the same questions. Like, so how is the north different from the south? I was like, well, in the south, the difference between the north of England and the south of England is down south and everything, you have to be silent. You have to keep yourself to yourself. In London, you can go into the underground, or you can go to the bus stop, wait for your bus. You're quiet. Everyone ignores each other. No one will actually talk to you. I was
everybody's just sat watching on the phone or headphones in or something like that. No one talks to each other.
Filming a documentary, I got off the bus to go to the studio, and I just had headphones in and everything, and this lass came up to me and she started clicking her fingers at us. I was like, the fuck does she want? I was like, well, speak to me. You have a mouth. You have some sort of verbal communication skills. I'm sure of it. Can you please tell me what you want? I even signed to her, because having basic information, basic knowledge of British Sign Language does come in handy. So I did even sign to her. I was like, how can I help? Then she had to take her headphones out, and she just asked me in such an arsey way. It's like, I want a lighter. And I was like, why did you not just fucking say it rather than clicking your fingers at me? But in the north,
You know what I would have went?
Yeah, and also, I want a lighter. No, that's not how you ask for a lighter. You say, can I have a lighter? Can I borrow a lighter?
Do you know what I would have said if someone would click their fingers at us and I was like, what? And they were like, I want a lighter. I would have said, oh, good for you. I've got one. I would have put my headphones back on, walked away.
But what's different about the north of England is in Newcastle City Centre, I've seen this happen. This happened to me many times. You could wait for a bus to go anywhere, and there'll be some random person next to you, and within 5 minutes before that bus comes, you will know every single information about him, how old he is, where he came from, about his grandma, his grandma's name, where he lives. You'd be even invited around to his house for a cuppa or a pint.
When Jay says you know about his grandma and he'll be invited around for a cuppa, what he means is Jay has plans for his grandma, and that's why he's been asking them questions.
But no, I do fully agree, because going on the sort of lighter subject, there's been loads of times where all of us have been on a night out, that type of thing. Someone sees what, like, someone smoking, or I'm stood around a group of smokers because
you're gonna get killed.
I don't actually smoke myself, and someone will just walk. Someone will just walk up to us and they'll not click the fingers, they'll not say it in an arsey attitude, it'll literally just be, yeah, alright mate, here you got a light, I've lost mine, and it'll be, nah, like, either nah, sorry mate, or whatever. And then if you say you don't have one, they don't get arsey or anything like that, they'll literally just, never that she has anyway. There's no arsiness, there's
animosity.
No, like, animosity, that's the word. There's nothing like that. It's literally just nice and friendly. Hey mate, here you got a light. I've lost mine. Or here you got a light. Anything like that. They're always friendly. They're kind, because that's the way people in the Northeast usually are. You get one or two assholes, but the majority of them will just ask nicely. It's
just manners, really, isn't it? And a lot of people from down south will look at us on their high horses, and from people from the north, and be like, "You're just peasants," There's no mannerisms, there's no social construct.
Well, we can argue because we have horses too, because that's not.
There's no like social construct or anything in the Northeast that makes us like pleasant, but yet they contradict themselves by being the most arrogant cunts ever. And don't get me wrong, I love a lot of people in London, and I love a lot of people down south, and it's purely amazing. I do. It's for antisocial people like myself, just to be like in a way where no one will talk to me. Because the last thing I want is to wait for a bus, like on a night out, and for some random stranger to tell me every single thing about
them. That's usually where I put headphones in, or on one occasion there was a drunk who tried to start talking to us in McDonald's, and I did just turn around and say, look mate, I've been at work all night, this is my breakfast basically, and then I'm going home to bed.
Before, and Kyle's exact words were, I went to McDonald's for breakfast, it was about 4 o'clock in the morning or something like that. I said, you asked for a breakfast menu item. They said, we don't start serving the breakfast until
6 a.m.
9 a.m. or something, or 8 a.m. or something, or 7 a.m.
Yeah.
And then Kyle said, so I was forced to eat 2 portions of pancakes. No, you weren't. Nobody forced you to eat anything. You certainly didn't force to eat 2.
There's that, but there's also like I've had a drunk just approach us and start like trying to talk to us, but being a bit like sort of arsey, and you can tell they're probably going to try and start something or just be really intrusive on your evening. So it's just like you put your headphones on, you just say, "Look, mate, I've just finished work. I don't want to talk. You leave me alone. I'll leave you alone.
No one has to die.
We'll get along." No, it's like you leave me alone, I'll leave you alone, we'll get along.
I'll do me,
Just,
you
you go over there, I'll go over here.
You leave me alone, I'll not put you in the freezer.
I'll not make you into the next batch of chicken nuggets. You can't make Wellingtons at McDonald's.
You just called Kyle.
You're obsessed with Wellington.
Kyle Old Wellington.
It's because I still have to make him and Ashley a bloody beef Wellington. Fuck's
It's not
sake.
a beef Wellington, it's a turkey Wellington in a
A turkey Wellington, which isn't going to be a turkey Wellington, it's going to be a fucking turkey pie in the shape of a Wellington boot.
The shat skin, skin lit up now. It's Wellingtons. I don't see one.
Yes,
Well,
Ashley,
don't
I
say
know
one.
you
It's
don't
gonna
see one.
It's going to come to a point where you're going to be.
I'm going to buy... Gee, I need your address.
You've got
because
me
I'm going to buy you a
address?
pair of Wellingtons on Amazon and send them over. I don't keep it honest. You sent us it ages ago. It's somewhere in the chat.
I
ain't
haven't guessed where I
searching
live then.
for it. Fine. I'll just start picking random. I'll just search by it now.
I mean, to be honest, I can either send you the
Don't trust
address or
Kyle to
I
take
can
you
just
anywhere
take you
either.
there.
I'll forever
I don't wanna
complain
go
to
there.
half one.
Why would I do that?
We will forever complain to your half one. It's
You can drive by.
Deal.
Drive by through a
Throw
Wellington.
Wellingtons at his window.
I have no idea.
Hey, what was that? I swear there was a topic at the start of this.
We're talking about sort of the issues with society and how it's not completely in the human nature to be in a society type thing. I do actually have a topic to go along with it, and to go along with the whole topic of Londoners being a bit arsey and thinking that they're better than everybody else and all that sort of thing. No offense, Londoners, but you do. And it's so over the last century, behavioural researchers, among other things, have revealed the biases and prejudices that shape how people see the world and the carrots and sticks that influence our daily actions. Their discoveries have filled many psychology textbooks and inspired generations of students. They've also informed how businesses manage their employees, how educators develop curricula, and how political campaigns persuade and motivate voters. But the issue with this is that a growing body of research has raised concerns that many of these discoveries suffer from severe biases of their own. Specifically, the vast majority of what we know about human psychology and behaviour, because it comes from studies conducted with a narrow slice of humanity. So it's very much the studies that say, like, humans interact well with each other and we socialise a lot and all that sort of stuff. The reason there's so many studies out there that say these sorts of things is because most of the studies are only conducted with this narrow slice of humanity, which is usually college students, middle-class respondents living near universities, highly educated residents of wealthy, industrialised and demographic nations, all these sorts of places. Because, of course, the people doing the research are usually at universities or at scientific centres of the world. so they don't really travel anywhere. They don't go anywhere. So I would never be part of one of these research things.
Get out the house more.
Because I live in the countryside. They would all be focused on like the main town centres, specifically around the universities, because that's sort of classed as the pinnacle of society, or some shit like that.
Yeah, Kyle, you're professional.
I mean, I've met people that have went to university that are dumber than fucking bricks. So, you know. Jay did just put his hand up though, so.
And then argued with us. He was like, "Yeah, me," and then I was like, "Yeah, Jay," and he was like, "No, fuck you."
Just that's not fair.
Yeah.
See, yeah, it is. Everyone's fair game, and I'm not gonna miss a chance to take the piss out of you two.
Exactly, we'll take the piss out of anybody. But this thing, it does say, to illustrate the extent of this bias, one of the considerations we'll have to have in mind is that more than 90% of studies recently published in a psychological sciences flagship journal, which is apparently a big thing, comes from countries representing less than 15% of the world's population, so it's very much a massive minority. Yeah. And if people thought and behaved basically the same way worldwide, selective attention to these typical participants wouldn't be a problem. But nobody acts the same. You can tell just by going on holiday to a different country.
Studies are done in America, and nobody anywhere else.
Americans are such special people, though.
Yeah, Americans do act like they live in a zoo half the time.
Well, they do, basically.
And unfortunately, in the rare cases where researchers do actually reach out over a broader range of humanity, they frequently find that the usual suspects most often include participants such as things like it's university students or specific types of people. They always have like this target type people that they go for. They never just go with normal people. And this thing, it's very much... You go to a different country, you can tell things are different. Like, I can go to Spain and they'll act completely different to what they will in France and completely different to what they will in Germany and then completely different to us in Britain. That's just the way the world is.
Because the Spanish annoy cows and the French just give up.
But I like how you didn't insult Germany, you German.
I always started insulting the two before you said it, so I didn't actually register it. And the Germans just annoy other countries.
Yeah. But this is the thing of you can't do these scientific studies and assume everybody's the same, which is what a lot of scientific studies do assume, is that every country has the same sort of infrastructure, every country has the same sort of things. I mean, if someone published a scientific study saying universal healthcare was terrible, but they only did it by studying America, it would evidently be full of flaws and lies and wrong because they've never had universal healthcare. It's things like that. It's basically the same sort of concept of people talking about shit they don't understand because they haven't actually been to the place and spoken to those people.
And biased research. Universal free healthcare could work if you look at the example that a lot of countries, including the UK and its NHS, with Sweden, New Zealand, I believe, and Australia do have some sort of free healthcare where you do not need insurance to go see a doctor or pay an arm and a leg to see why you're coughing badly, if you have corona or not. It's just a point that, like,
if you go to the doctor to see why you're coughing and they cut off your arm and your leg, that's a bad deal. Don't go to that doctor's again.
It's I think a lot of European countries have the universal healthcare because I think it's becoming standard in the UN, basically, because it is one of the greatest things in human history. It stops you from having to go into debt and be bankrupt because you went to hospital with a cough.
To be fair, I'd be fine.
And it's things like you hear the horror stories of like people going into hospital, finding out they've got cancer, and then basically not doing anything about it because they can't afford the treatment, and being able to afford the treatment would mean bankrupting themselves, selling the house, selling the car, getting 6 jobs and basically doing everything they can, and then it's still having a chance of failing. Meanwhile, if you go to somewhere like England or somewhere else that has universal healthcare, it's just all in your insurance. It's all paid for. You just go there. Some of it you might get charged for. But that's like specialty type things. If you want to go to like a specialist doctor and you don't want to go through the normal NHS or anything like that.
The thing about America is it's just even with insurance, people still have to pay some sort of money towards their healthcare. In the UK, we have private doctors and everything. But
but everything comes on. If we don't necessarily pay insurance, we pay taxes to that. We have a little bit extra in our taxes that goes towards the NHS. That little bit extra basically covers everything. You go to a hospital. If you need an ambulance, it covers the ambulance. You go to a hospital, it covers seeing a doctor. It covers any sort of treatment you need, anything like that. Yes, you sometimes still have to pay for prescriptions, but it's usually a set price.
If you contribute to society, if you're not contributing to society, you get it for free because this country's backwards.
Even
that's the only things I don't like about the NHS. Everything else is usually fine.
We are becoming very. We have a presentation screen.
We are becoming very professional. We have presentations.
This is the out-of-pocket cost during a battle of cancer. I've got a pie graph.
Jay's got a bloody graph.
It's not a pie chart. It's a pie. Well, technically, it's a pie chart.
He's got a pie chart.
It's got pie in it, and Jay got distracted. That's his fault.
It's a pie chart, but someone's cut a hole in the middle. It's a donut chart. If you
look wherever it is on your screen, and my screen, it takes the full fucking screen. Basically, this is the annual costs. Out-of-pocket costs to battle cancer in the United States of America, the land of the free, ironically enough. 20% of the population who have cancer, who are battling through cancer, or have lost their lives to cancer, have paid more than $20,000. Only 11% have paid less than $1,000. Only 29% have paid between $1,000 to $5,000. 16% have paid $10,000 to $20,000, and 24% have paid between $5,000 and $10,000. The cost of healthcare and cost of being ill in any shape or form. We're just using cancer as an example because Kyle, as an extreme example because Kyle used cancer
the extreme
anyway.
Example.
So even for people who suffer from some sort of.
But it's worth saying that's annual as well. That's not the whole treatment process from when you're diagnosed till you're cured, if you get cured, or until you die.
That's per year.
Annual, so that's
depends.
So that could go on for 10, 20 years. Potentially.
Especially with most cancers, you are taking treatment for at least a year or 2 or 3. It's usually a long and lengthy process. There have been people that have been on cancer treatment for 4 or 5 years straight, and then it's still shown no signs of getting any better because it's just been one of those really aggressive forms. It's anywhere between 1,000
to 20,000 a year, right? Only 6.8% of the average American will make $68,703 a year.
Did you say 68,000 or 628?
I'm sorry. Yeah, but this is
okay.
He was just asking.
Only 6.8% of Americans will make that a year. Right? How many? Yeah.
So they're the ones that would be able to sort of comfortably afford it, we'll say, because that would leave them with everything else. If you look at someone who gets a normal sort of wage or lowish wage, I mean, you hear people complain all the time about like minimum wage or like people relying on tips in America because they don't actually get paid that well or something like that. If you imagine one of them having to pay for this treatment, even if it's just £1,000 a year, that is a big chunk of money for
Someone
people.
who's just out of college and that's their first job or something, they're kind of 18, 20-year-olds, they're not making a lot of money.
Yeah, and this is especially the thing of, what if you don't even have a job? What if you are just a college student or something like that? It's not even your money that's going to end up going towards it. It's possibly your parents or your grandparents. If you don't have anybody looking after you and you're literally living on like a university fund or anything like that, like a what you call them, where they put you through because you Excel or some shit like that. Scholarship, yeah. If you're like relying on scholarships and stuff like that, you're going to struggle even more with this type of thing.
The population of America, the United States, as of 2020, has 331 million people living in the United States. 6.8% of that is 22.5 thousand people can afford to be ill in America.
Ill.
That is
we're just using
I know
America
we're saying
as an
America a lot, but it's not just America. There are other countries that have the same sort of thing.
Because they're easy to make an example out of.
It is usually the biggest example,
America.
And a lot of these scientific researchers do come from America. A lot of the sort of textbooks or reading shit that you see has come from America. It has left. But it is a ridiculous number when you think of it. I mean, especially when you grow up in England, this sort of thing, you're used to being able to go to the doctor, get your treatment, all that sort of stuff. It's free. You might have to pay for a prescription, but that's about it. That's going to be like £6 or £7, maybe like a tenner, something like that. And you'll get like a packet of tablets, and then you'll go home, you'll have them, and maybe in a couple of weeks' time or a month's time, you'll have to go and get some more tablets if you still need it.
Look at the average. If the same rules applied to England,
that's what I'm saying.
Right,
it is ridiculous.
$20,000 out of pocket. This is not insurance. £20,000 out of pocket, not covered by insurance.
We'll
is how
say
much you have to pay
£20,000 just for.
Yes, probably. Sorry. The average income for the UK, annual income for a household, is $30,800.
And if it's per household, 30,000 usually suggests if it says per household, household usually suggests 2 people living in the household. That's what it usually comes under. So it would be 15,000 per person. That means if they were living home alone. If it was me living home alone, that would mean I just flat out would not be able to afford that. If I was living with someone else, that would mean we would barely be able to afford that and still survive on the necessities of possibly paying a mortgage, that type of thing. And we would be struggling terribly because mortgages, electricity, gas, all that sort of stuff, it adds up.
I forgot for a moment that the assumed there's 2 underpaid.
It's just massively fucked up, to be honest. It's not right at all.
It isn't. It's one of the reasons I actually know someone who lives in America who is trying to emigrate over to UK, because we have the universal healthcare, we have the free schools and all that sort of stuff. We have all of this stuff that we take for granted, but other places you have to pay a massive shit ton just to get an education and healthcare and things like that.
And in America is quite expensive. In America, you pay 12. You pay. I'm reading. It's $12,370 a year to send a child to school. Apparently.
Yeah, right, okay, right. I'm not going to do the maths on that, but do you know that it's about 180 something thousand pounds to raise a child on average in the UK from the moment you find out you're pregnant until it's 18th birthday?
But that's just that you can buy a house for that, but that's just the average. That's like the fact.
I would assume that's
like
that
in the UK we still have the benefits of like child income tax and housing benefits and other things that are there to help.
we should explain that child income tax is if you were on a lower income in the UK, you can receive a small amount of funding to help look after your kids. We're not taxing children themselves.
Yeah,
it just made it sound like there's still
it's one of the ways that people on benefits do unfortunately abuse the system is you'll see someone on benefits with 10 kids because they'll be claiming income tax, the child income tax on every single one of those kids and be getting a bit. But unfortunately, yes. But it's there to basically make sure the child has all the necessities they need. So if they need diapers, food, clothes, all that sort of stuff, it helps go towards that. It's basically to make sure that no child in the UK should be needing or wanting. They should have everything they need to be able to at least live an ordinary life. Yeah. The whole thing behind it is that it's meant to conjoin with your wage or whatever else money you're getting type thing. It's not supposed to be you rely solely on it. It's an added bit to help you along if you're struggling type
you're
thing.
Doing what you can and you're paying your tax like you should be and doing what you should be doing, but you don't make a great wage, so we'll help you to have a little bit to raise your kids, and everything you get is to go to the kids basically, to help with what they might need. I will say though, not a
which is what every good parent does.
Because now that the Tories are in charge, Nina showed me a thing the other day that was a family that didn't qualify for working tax for their children or something. A family of 2 adults, 3 children, and so they were given a food package of what the government said would be enough to cover, because you know how they're not doing free school meals anymore. So it's what the government said.
Although they are again.
It's what the government said should be enough for 3 kids to go to school over the course of a month or something. And they were like, this is what we're being given, and it was literally like 5 of the little juice boxes, 2 apples, like 1 loaf of bread, like a 2-pint carton of milk, and just random shit like that. And it was like, that is 1 meal for me, and they expect that you're going to send 3 kids to school with them for a month.
No, yeah. One of the things 30. Was it was like the £25.
It's £30 now
type thing, where it was meant to.
And the total value of the ingredients was about.
I think it was meant to be 25
ingredients, not what they put in. So, like for example, like beans, there was like 2 tins of beans, and they were just like cheap.
The first lockdown in the UK, we got adult the households with children got money per child in an average school. Fair enough. We got good £30 vouchers, and we were able to choose between Tesco's, Aldi, or Asda's. That was good because I
think that's what some places are doing now as well. I think they've went back to it.
With 2 apples, basically half packet of bread, a packet of crisps, and to last them a month. £30 can go a long way. Fair enough, we didn't really use that £30 for the necessities of all the food. We used that £30 to get just stuff when they can snack on during the day. We made sure that they would have some sort of food in the house. If they were if they just fancied a snack, we had a shit ton of food. We could go out. We got a massive food bowl. We can fill that to the very brim, and these kids will have them gone within 2 days. So that £30 was more towards filling that food bowl and that. But we do have the benefit that we are getting some sort of a decent income to help. We're scraping by every month. Right, my financial situation because of coronavirus and everything, I'm not going to work. I am still getting some sort of income to help me. I can feed my family. I can feed my household. I can just pay my bills, and I'll have a couple extra to see us over until the next payday. But I got a thing that not many people do get a household with an income alongside the benefit system. And I see a lot of people on this is going to be name calling now, but I'm not ashamed because they deserve to be. People who read this and people who follow what they say deserve to be outcasted. And Daily Mirror and The Mirror are the fucking worst. It's the same with the Sun. They'll post out stupid stories about celebrities and other stuff, but then every now and then they seem to have like every quarter they need to shame a family for not being able to support. So, and like you see a lot of the people commenting saying, "Oh, they should be going out and get a job. They shouldn't be doing this. They shouldn't be doing that. They should be concentrating on the children." It's like, well, you read a clickbait title. You didn't get a chance to read the actual fucking article. The article saying that they're living in a house, and that the standard rent of a house is about £400 to £600. Good to have a 600. Yeah, I'm just talking about basic rent.
To be fair, 400's on like the cheaper end nowadays.
Good decent sized house for £500. Plus, on top of the utilities, the electric, the gas, the council tax, and everything, it comes out of £700 to £800 a month to run a household. Then you got food on top, and then you got these two people who have 3 or 4 kids. They're barely scraping by because their income is more than £1,200 a month. The universal benefit things like, oh yeah, you're not going to earn anything because you have 2 incomes of £1,200 each. That's £2,400. You should be able to afford everything. It's like, well, no, because we have bills to pay as well alongside rent. Fair enough, it's £800, just like a whole range. Let's say £800 to run a household with its rent, utilities, and everything. That's £800 out of £2,400, right? Then you've got your other bills to pay. You might have been in debt. You might be paying off a car loan. You might be running a car. And insurance is not a cheap thing either. It's the living rate, the national minimum wage in this country does not like subside with the actual living costs in this country.
Yeah.
Well, this thing, because I was looking at mortgages and everything recently, I did actually look through all the bits and pieces. So we had council tax, water, mortgage/rent type thing, and this is like a low-end mortgage, so this is £300-400. House and contents insurance. No, yeah. Car payments if you've got a car on finance, petrol, gas and electric.
I forgot about water rates. Yeah,
food and water and all this sort of stuff. All this sort of stuff, and it came out at £1,156
with the national minimum wage
every month.
Annually, people will only make before tax and £1,200. Then after tax deductions, they'll only get like just £1,000 to £1,100.
I'm currently paying about my money after tax and after pension and stuff. They take about £400-500. So for a minimum wage income, I know like they might not be paying into a pension, or they may not have as much tax, but still you get a huge chunk taken off. And especially if you're paying like this, if you're paying £1,100 a month just to be able to afford to go to work because you need fuel in your car, to be able to put food on your table and all that sort of stuff, that's a big chunk.
You need a rainy day fund.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm basically on minimum wage, doing the job I do. Yeah, enough. By the time I pay my contribution to pension, which I have to pay, and then I get national insurance and income tax taken off that, then I'm currently paying off debt, but not at a great rate. I'm not paying a stupid amount a month. I've got car payments to pay for. I've got to pay my insurance, my fuel, the car tax and everything to keep the car on the road just so that I can get to work. Food shopping and stuff that I need to live on. And I currently don't live in my own place, so pay board money. By the end of that, I'm pretty much in my overdraft, which I live in. That's my wage gone every month. I live paycheck to paycheck, and there's nothing I can do about it. And that's slightly above minimum wage. It's not a great deal above, but it is slightly above.
And what you said there with you paying board, that means you probably don't pay as much towards things such as water, electricity, gas, all that sort of stuff.
Paying board, I cannot afford to go and get. I want to get a mortgage. I can't afford it. I've got to pay off my debts and then save up and put down a bunch.
Fair enough. The government is to help the economy, and they decided to turn around and be like, okay, that's going to be a scheme. We're going to pay 5% off the deposit, which the help. No, not the Help to Buy scheme. There's a new scheme now it's introduced. I can't remember what it's called.
Is this the Help to Buy scheme?
For new...
yeah, but that's only because
because I've got a Help to Buy ISA, but they stopped doing it like 1 or 2 years after they introduced it because they realised that they'd slightly completely fucked themselves. Yeah, because I managed to get one, but I'm like the only person I know of that's managed to get one. And it's very rare you'll find anybody else who seems to have gone one. And all it is you'll pay in like £200 a month. That's like the maximum amount of payments you can put in per month. And it's basically, you'll get like a little bit of interest on it and all this sort of stuff. But at the end of it, once you've filled it, the government's meant to put in a lump sum of $3,000 to help towards your deposit. If you're looking at buying a house in places like that, $3,000 honestly isn't much because your deposit needs to be at least 10% of the mortgage now. It needs to be at least 10% for you to be able to get the mortgage. 3,000 is not enough. Yeah, but it's assuming that you would have put payments into this and all sort of this stuff. But I'm pretty sure the way the scheme works as well though. The government won't put the money in unless you've filled it, unless you've gone up to the threshold that they were requiring. By which case you would probably have I've had mine since I don't know how long I've had it.
It's a good 3 or 4 years.
I've spent years filling it. Yeah, I've spent ages filling it, and it's still not full yet.
We were looking at the house the other day. It was the mortgage was $180,000. That was the price of the house. It's not the most expensive house in the world. It was 3-bedroom, garage, small garden, drive, an average kind of house. It was nothing special. It was nothing flash. It was only $180,000, and it said on the estate agent's website when you went onto it that a minimum 10% deposit was required, which is $18,000, obviously. Then it said underneath, it's highly likely that at this time more than 10% will actually be required because of the current financial situation. So even now, it's not even going to be 10%. It's going to be more because estate agents are going to be more greedy about it because they know everyone's fucked.
At a minute, we're in a tragic loophole system. And this is before the coronavirus fucked up our economy even more. Is the point where we went out to, as young people, we were always judged, or for someone who always like put in some sort of subcategory, like these are young people and they're not to get a mortgage or anything, but they still say well, we want to help you, but we're going to pay 5% of your deposit, not 5% of the mortgage deposit. We're going to pay 5% towards your deposit towards a house. So as Kyle said, it's going to be 10%. So like that's 10 grand deposit. Yeah. So 5% of 10 grand is only 5% of how much you have to pay, which isn't much. I'm shit at maths. I ain't going to be bothered to work this out. But what?
Yeah.
Stefan, this is your key.
I want it. What do you need?
The 5% of 10 grand.
500 quid.
500 quid. Took us a while. I'm doing.
There you go. So that is a pittance when you think of it.
You're going to pay
compared to the 10 grand that you're already putting down for the thing. It's not even going to make a dent.
And it sounds good on the picture,
it's not even a dent.
We're going to pay 5% towards it. But when you read into the terms and conditions and you look at all the leaflets and that, it's only a very, very small sum of the money you have to pay. It's not on the mortgage. They're basically going to give you that 5% towards it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not 5% of the mortgage; it's 5% of your deposit to the mortgage.
Is the housing, is the system they do
atrocious
for mortgages. I went for a mortgage in London, and like basically they checked me credit. This is when my credit score was decent, and I had like a little, like just a little lump sum to help us through before I had to get used on that to help me survive being workless and shit. And having a money controlling ex who needed me bank details all the time, that was gone quickly. So they ask stupid questions. And when they found out I was freelance, it's like, oh yeah, you're self-employed, so you're not going to get next income. And it's like, but isn't there not like systems in place to help me with my house and with like a house and benefits scheme to help me pay the missing income I'm not going to receive throughout certain months? Like, oh yeah, there is. We can accept people with that, but you need to be in full-time employment, not as a self-employed, unless you have a heavy substantial income.
Freelancer.
Yeah, so if you send that,
I'm trying to get it up on the screen now. But yeah, it is very much a thing. I mean, I've went to look at mortgages and stuff recently. I got great help from a mortgage advisor. They were really helpful. Thank you very much. If I doubt you'll be listening to this, but thank you very much. You were a great help and you gave us loads of information. But it is one of the main issues with the housing market is that prices are going up.
I've showed if Kyle can't get
and
it up.
There's not.
If it goes back quite far, but basically at a certain point, a house was about the average annual wage, like the average house price. Now the average house price, so for your average normal small family home, 2 or 3 bedroom house, is there. That is the difference. The bottom line is the average annual wage in the UK, and the top line is the average house price. So that's not even like your more expensive house or anything like that. That is just your average house price. It's now 7.5 times what the like increase on what the average wage is. It's just ridiculous. And now you probably make between 12 and 15k a year on average. Your average normal job, unless you've got a higher paying job. Yeah. But the average house price is over 200k.
And it is.
Let's go back to
it's
our
the Fredo coefficient.
God damn you,
Freddos exponentially went up in price.
Fuck's
but
sake.
it's true. It's true though.
Shit.
It's true though, because if you got a wage based on Freddos, you would be able to afford a house because the Freddos have gone up in the sort of same amount of existential crisis type thing that houses have.
Kyle's financial advice is buy as many Freddos as you can and then keep hold of them in your house. You might be able to catch them in for one.
No, my financial advice is if the minimum wage went up at the same rate as Freddo's, we'd all be able to afford ours.
Yeah. That's because everything is went up apart from the minimum wage. Because everyone wants to charge more and get more money, but nobody wants to actually pay you more money.
It's a horrible loophole, and it's a dark pit. We're all falling down.
And as well as that, there are so many people being constantly scammed off the people who work for by being underpaid for the job they're doing as well. So that also doesn't help. And that's not even represented by the
There's the thing with Jay being a freelancer, I'm sure he's probably seen that more than either of us, of being either underpaid or not being paid, or being paid so late that it basically left you completely stranded.
That I worked on nearly 2 years ago now. No. This will end up in a lawsuit, and I'm not gonna name and shame.
Because it will end up in a lawsuit.
But I just don't want to name and shame them to the point where I would not have the lawyers. Fair enough, I've got good lawyers as it is.
I mean, I don't know how good the lawyers of the MI6 are.
But basically.
I think they're pretty good. They can send
That's
James
not
Bond
a lawyer,
after
that's a hitman. That's different, Kyle. This is why you can't be a lawyer. You can't kill people that win against you.
He can turn up in a suit and say he's a lawyer and then just kill you in his home. So,
but there's a loophole system of like they will give you a timesheet you have to fill in. So you fill that timesheet in yourself and you send it off. And sometimes, because you should know, a lot of film crews are massive, and like a lot of times timesheets will need to be resent
Yeah.
And like some companies are good. They'll send you one says, "Listen, we couldn't find your timesheet. Can you send it over again?" Or they have accountants who would do your own timesheet. So send it to you. You have to check. You have to send it back. Any corrections? And yeah.
So they'll do like a base, and then you stick on what you've done extra or where you've been.
And like when you don't send a timesheet off, you're not going to get paid. And if they have lost the timesheet, especially like Kyle should know that computer systems aren't perfect. I send off.
Especially when Kyle's in charge.
They'll always have there's always flaws. Backups get corrupted, or hard drives get corrupted, and it makes them unusable. You lose all the data.
That's Kyle, that isn't it? What happened to this, Kyle? Oh, the hard drive was corrupted. Yeah, I had to reset it. I had to totally wipe the hard drive. It was corrupted.
No, we've actually had a few cases in my place where a hard drive has just stopped working. It stopped registering, everything like that. You go into the computer system, it doesn't even see that there's a hard drive there. You take out the hard drive, and you try it in multiple different machines. It just says it does not exist, is not there. So you just have to completely abandon it, drill a hole through it, and put it in a bin.
I was gonna go on.
Make sure there's no way to recover
I was
the
going to go on something that we all know. Everyone who's working knows this pain is the tax you pay. You get. I'm not.
Well, this is right. So, if anyone doesn't live in the UK, what happens is when you get paid, you get taxed. You get taxed on income tax. Your employer also has to pay tax for paying you. Every time I say the word tax, by the way, this is money that goes to the government and gets put in rich people's pockets. Doesn't go back in the system like it should. We'll gloss over that.
Because a lot of rich people don't pay tax.
So, the government bends this to benefit their own pockets, basically, but you pay tax. So when you get paid, your employer pays tax for paying you. You pay tax to receive your wage. You also pay national insurance, which is a tax for living in this country. You also then you'll go home.
Value-added tax.
You'll pay your bills, and on every bill you'll pay tax. So if you've got a mortgage, you'll pay tax on the mortgage. If you've got rent, you'll pay tax. You get taxed from the council for living in a house. You get charged for the water you use. Then you get taxed on that, and electricity and gas. Then you'll go and you'll buy a car and you'll pay tax on that. And if you can't afford to pay X amount, say £10,000 upfront to buy the car that's advertised at £10,000, you will then have to finance it, which you will pay tax on. So you'll end up paying £16,000 on that, but you'll get taxed on that £16,000. Then you'll have to tax that car to use it on the road, which is
I don't pay that.
It's called road tax because it's supposed to go into maintaining the roads. And if your car hasn't also got an MOT to prove that it's good enough to be on the road, you can get your car seized. So you have to then pay for a bit of paper every single year that says your car is good enough to be driven on the roads, even though the roads aren't good enough to drive a car on, because the tax that you pay to fix the roads doesn't go into fixing the roads. So they don't fix the roads with that tax. Then you have to go and buy fuel to put in that car, and you get taxed on that. And you pay an insurance company, which is the biggest scam imaginable, to say that you're allowed to drive your car on the road in case some arsehole drives into it, i.e. J reversing into Audis. We'll gloss over that. And then you get paid tax on that. Then you'll go and you'll buy food, and you get taxed on every single bit of food. If you want to drink, because you're pissed off and you're depressed to paying all this tax, you have to pay a lot of tax on that. If you turn to smoking because you're really stressed and it calms you down, you pay a lot of tax on that, because they know that if you need drink or if you need smoking, it's something you can't go without. A lot of people become dependent on it, and it's really harmful to your body. But it's really easy to get into the country and distribute about. So we can't stop it from going out, and we know that people are relying on it, so we'll tax it instead of helping people come off it. Then if you want to send your kids to school, you pay tax on everything you buy for them, all their uniforms, their books, everything like that. Everything is fucking taxed. When you die, you get taxed. When you die, unless you specifically leave stuff to people in the will, which you get taxed on, then your estate or any property you own, your family will have to fight for, because the government will try and take it and tax you on that. You get taxed on everything. You want to build a coffin that you put somewhere nice to lie when you're dead, that will be taxed. Everything. Every single fucking thing. You cannot breathe. If you breathe and the government realises you're breathing, they'll tax you.
It won't be long. I am still waiting on the day that the government tries to tax
all of them, to be honest.
As well.
But going back to income tax is the fact, like,
I forgot, Jay. I forgot about VAT. VAT is value-added tax. So every single thing you buy has been imported into this country and taxed. It's been then made into a product and taxed. It's been then shipped somewhere and taxed. It's then been put on a shelf in a shop and taxed. Then they have marked that out so that shop can make a profit. Then when you buy it, you pay value-added tax, which is 20% to the government.
We just pay tax
again. What the fuck? And then you go, there's a massive pothole outside. It's popped me tyres 3 times this week, and they go, oh, well, we've only got 18 million pounds in the
the best thing is, right, I thought prostitution was legal, but everyone in the UK is basically a fucking whore because we're paying to get fucking screwed over. 100%. The government are whores. Basically, we're paying 100%. Them to fuck us.
We are. I mean, one of the
and then when you don't want to pay tax, and then when you don't want to pay tax, so you put the finances of a country that doesn't charge you fees. That's a problem.
The best, going back onto my big corporations.
Yeah, which is what most celebrities do, which is why they don't pay tax.
Queen has accounts in the Bahamas. Why should you pay tax?
I'm pretty sure it's because she owns the Bahamas.
Say about income tax. We pay tax, and sometimes the government screws up and we pay too much tax. And for them to realise, we do not get that money back until April.
Oh, yeah. No, but this is the thing, right? If you work out, say you're self-employed, you want to start your own business because you want to earn a little bit more money without paying a little bit of tax, right? So you start to pay a little tax. What you do is you'll start up your company, and then at the end of every year at April, you have to fill in all your tax returns for everything you've done that year. Yeah. So every purchase you made, everything you've got to have receipts and everything.
It's fucking horrible to do. I have to do mine soon.
Will actually get a tax man to do for them. But the government's tax man will realise. The government's tax man realises that you should have actually, when you worked it out, you missed out this and this, and you should have paid £500 more tax than what you actually paid them. And then it'll just be like, bosh, and you'll get took to court, and you get letters threatening you with stuff, and it's like, it's absolutely relentless to recover this missed tax that you haven't paid because you've been dodging tax and you haven't been paying your full amount, or you've worked it out wrong. And they're really hard on you to the point where people can get prison sentences for it, whether they do it on purpose or not, right? Because some people do feel like do it on purpose. But if you pay so much tax, say you own a company and you could pay £1 million more tax than you needed to and not realise, the tax man will realise and go, oh, they paid too much tax. And then ignore it and hope that you don't realise within 5 years and try and claim it back.
Yep. And then you'll get taxed on trying to claim it back anyway.
And then when you claim it back, you go, oh, this happened, I've just realised this happened. And they go, no, I'm sorry, that was 5 years and 2 days ago, you can't actually claim that back now, it's not valid anymore. Fuck you! Right, I didn't have to pay tax for 15 years. You're not getting the first 10 years because that's not valid anymore.
Yeah. It's also the thing of, like, I love it as well because I love the whole income tax and all that sort of stuff because I've got... Fucking hell, man. IKEA? Because I've got the... You'd be missing a screw. I've got something that I bought from Japan, right? Normally in this country, you buy something that's sort of the end of it. You get taxed and all that sort of stuff, but usually you just pay for the amount that's on the price tag. I bought something from Japan. It was £130, £140, something like that. No. To be fair, katanas were cheaper than this.
You did say recently that you're in a relationship. Is it a sex or what?
No, it's not. I apologise if you're listening.
What, the sex robot?
Because she does listen. She does listen. No, it's to do with anime. It's something that I've enjoyed, and it's something that symbolises. It's something. No, it's not. It's something that symbolises one of the first things that introduced me to basically Japan and the culture and all this sort of stuff. So I bought it thinking it would be a nice thing. It's £150. I saved up for it for like a year, basically. Because they do like release note things where they say like this product's coming out, and I saved up for a different product, and this one came out and it was more suitable, so I got this one. And then it came into this country, so I paid the money for it. It arrived in the country. Then customs took it and made it go in a container. And then I had to pay another £100 to get it out that container and deliver it to my house.
Better? You know what's
So I paid nearly the same amount for this product twice because customs decided, nah, that's from a country that that isn't in the EU or like our trade regulations yet. We can't tax you on it. So what we're gonna do is make it sit in a container and make you pay tax on top of the charge that we're gonna put just to release it from this container and send it to you. I'll be honest, I was highly tempted to just find out where the fuck the place was with some bolt cutters and take it for myself. Because, like I said, it was 130, 140 pound for this item. Ended up paying an extra £100 just to get it released from customs, just because it came from a country that wasn't in EU. And guess what? We're not even in the EU anymore. We can look forward to this sort of shit more in the future. But I can't because I'm not buying anything from Japan anymore. Honestly, a lot of the stuff that I buy from Japan now is bought from points that I got from that. I got so many points for buying a 150 quid thing. I got enough points to be able to buy a bunch of little smaller things. So like I got a bunch of little smaller things delivered. And because they were under a certain weight category, they didn't get fucking impounded or anything like that. They didn't get shipped into a container and just stored for the taxman to make money off. They just got straight to us. It's because this thing weighed a little bit more than what is classed as a allowable weight for something to come in from a different country. And I can actually show you what it is. It's a huge fucking box, but its majority of it is empty because the actual thing in size is only about that big.
I heard. I was at the toilet and Ashley's listening upstairs and I heard everything.
I didn't.
It's shit that you had to pay £100 tax, like £100 like customs.
Yeah, so 140 quid, not the most expensive thing in the world, but still 140 quid is quite a significant investment for something. And then they have then went.
It was. I was saving up for ages just to get this thing, and it wasn't even that thing I was saving up for. It was something else. But this one got released as I got the money, and it was basically like, oh, this one's more suitable. I'll get that one.
Right.
Yeah. Just because it went into a certain weight bracket.
Anybody from the UK
so
who's listening to
tax.
this, right? Why the fuck are we
Yeah, this is why we should.
This is the worst country ever. The government don't know what they're doing.
I will admit,
everyone screws you over.
I mean, I will. There is one thing that's better in this country than there is in some other countries, and it's the fact that we already add the tax onto the price of things instead of putting it on a label and then making you figure out how much tax you fucking owe on top of your thing.
Work on my own tax like that. Yeah, that I can go to a supermarket and it's already the price is there.
Yeah, I like the idea that I can go to a supermarket, see an apple for 40 pence, be able to go to a till and be able to hand over 40 pence and know that apple costs fucking 40 pence and not 60 because they didn't add the tax onto the price tag.
You can get the things in the supermarket now where you go, like, you'll scan something as you're going around them, when you get the end you just pay the amount so you see when it comes up on the screen. We could invent an app for a phone that does that and adds a tax, so you go and it tells you what it would be max price with the tax and everything.
I mean, there probably are apps out there. I'm pretty sure half of America and places like that are probably dependent on such app.
Yeah.
If you grew up with that, you'd learn it. You know what I mean? Like they'd learn. It's probably second nature there.
This thing. I hate maths. I don't like maths.
So.
I am terrible at maths. Hence, figuring this sort of shit out is terrible.
Yes.
What isn't terrible is being able to figure out how much.
Because the tax is added on our merch.
Because the tax is added on. So, rather than Patreon and all the time, support will buy some merch. There is a few things up on our store, which Jay will now plug.
No, the details, I don't know shit.
Because he knows the details.
Because we have actually gone... We have talked to each other and we have done some designs and stuff. It's mostly Jay's work, so give Jay a big round of applause. But he did consult us on some of the designs. So
I mean, look at all this beautiful stuff. Look at this beautiful stuff, right?
Jay,
please, this Turkish cotton towel with our logo on, 20 to 40 quid. You don't need to pay tax on it because it's already taxed. We pay the tax for it. You want this unisex tri-blend American apparel track shirt? £21. It's already taxed. Taking off air stickers, £2.52 to £2.88. It's already taxed. Best thing is, if you don't even live in this country, the website should automatically convert it to your own price, so you do not need to pay extra tax on it. We pay the tax, kinda.
A little asterisk there of it, mainly because Jason.
Everything's all value-added tax on this. Yes, it's all legitimate. You want some unisex slim fit joggers to go to the gym with? £25. We pay tax on it. Wavegram premium unisex pullover hoodie, £44.55. It's already taxed. You don't need to pay tax. Buy it. We've got organic Wavegram logo ribbed beanie, £18.99. No tax to pay.
The worst commercial ever.
Taking off air, Wavegram logo baseball cap or dad cap for Kyle. £20. You don't need to pay tax. You just need to pay shipping for anything.
Yeah.
You want to snapback
It's
cap?
my
Same price. It's a cheap snapback. It's good premium
It's not a dad
quality
cap, it's my cap.
snapback. You don't need to pay 50 quid for it. Yes. You don't want a premium unisex pullover hoodie. You can have the original Taking Off Air hoodie, £26. Tax already added. Unisex
sticking to his guns.
T-shirt for £20.50. No tax added. My name's Barry Scott. Bang! And the tax is gone.
No, the tax is still there. You just don't have to read it.
Can you imagine if this whole algorithm or that figures out different countries' currency and stuff works on Jay's maths?
If you don't have the money to buy merch, you can buy us a cup of coffee instead. It's just £1. You can go to buymeacoffee.com/TakenOffAir. You can donate £1. That £1 will help go towards running costs of the street. Yeah, don't waste on them.
You can buy me and Jay a coffee. Curl doesn't like coffee, so I'm wasting money on it.
You can do.
You'll be buying me a cup of tea if you do buy a coffee, because I don't like coffee.
You can go to our Patreon and subscribe monthly from the starting price of £5 a month over to £30 a month, and we have such amazing benefits. We're going to add more benefits to that, and we're going to be more active towards you guys and the audience.
We are going to add more benefits. I will say, all of this, just in case you don't want to have to try and focus on typing in these URLs, all of it's on our website, TakenOffAir.com. Just search for that. All the links are there. Literally everything. Just go on there. You can find everything. All of our social media, all of the places where you can usually listen to it. Merch, Patreon, Buy Me a Coffee, all that sort of stuff. And you'll probably be able to see our faces if you haven't already seen our faces on this live stream. If you listen from the podcast, you can see a picture of us on a night out where we all look like we've had one too many, despite the fact that I am completely sober, and it's the start of the night, so most of us are actually sober.
Yeah.
I say most of us because I'm pretty sure one of us had a few before we arrived.
The best thing is at TakenOffAir.com you can find out where to listen to us. Your pub, TakenOffAir.com.
Taken off air.
They've taken off air. The best thing is we ship worldwide, so anywhere in the world you are, we'll ship to you. You live in Madagascar? Cool, we'll ship to you. You live in Australia? Cool, we ship to you. Karen, you want our merch? We'll ship to you. That's Kyle's fault.
If custom sees it and you have to pay £100 to get it out, that's Kyle's fault.
You won't pay for that.
Yeah.
Disclaimer, Kyle will not pay. We're not going to pay.
Fuck you. I will not. Disclaimer, I will not.
Help us.
And if you are from the Pitcairn Islands and you want to buy our merch, let me know, because I will be fucking amazed, considering there's only like 40 of you.
And you get no signal, but somehow you're picking up this podcast. We'll ship to you. Before Kyle links into the very last topic,
because I am linking into my next topic.
I thought we're finished.
Well, Kyle plays this. I've just lost.
Is it about tax or merch?
Yes, while I put up the flag.
Even, right? You don't have any money and you don't want to support us in any way by paying us. We're not asking for money. We don't want money all the time. But the money is going to help us run this podcast to keep us going. It's going to keep everything correct. We do not. We only want help to run this podcast. To keep doing this.
I like that added all the time.
Entertain you. If you do not have any money to give, or you don't want to give any money at all to a bunch of strangers on the internet on podcasts, help us by following us on Twitter, following us on Facebook, share our podcast, tell your friends, tell your cat, tell your neighbour, go to Australia and tell Karen. Fucking listen to us. It's all we ask. Just share us. She's from Australia.
Yeah, so in all,
is she from Australia?
We don't expect any money off anything or anything like that. We'll like do what we're doing. We'll continue to do it. If we've got an audience, that's even better. If our audience continues to grow, that's even better. Money, of people buying things, supporting us if they want to support us, will allow us to do bigger and better things.
We're happy at the minute to put our own money into running this podcast.
Yes, we
exactly.
Yeah, it will basically go into a fund to do real life stuff, because we're planning on doing real life videos on YouTube and stuff, and real life things, and we are planning on, once we'll be able to actually get like a sort of steady sort of income, which is a long way yet because it would involve sponsors and all this sort of stuff, but if we could get a steady income from this, would be having an office so that we could have a professional space. And we've even thought of the idea of having a live cam set up in the office so that you can see what we're doing when we're recording, all this sort of stuff. Even when we're just having meetings and brainstorming shit, you would be able to have a look and see. You might not have audio on the live cam because that might be too difficult and too noisy, but you would be able to see us throwing stuff at each other and getting pissed off at each other every second of the day.
When we do have an office, we're going to have a 24-hour surveillance of the office, which you can watch on our...
I mean, it is going to be surveillance because it's going to make sure that we don't be built down the office as well.
24/7, watching every single thing we do, even when it's not there. It's not going to be the person who's going to be on top. It's going to be the insurance company.
Probably going to be the person who owns the office.
I mean, honestly, I would not be surprised if you could manage to do that, because with all the time zones and stuff, you could actually have, if one person tuned in from each country, like their respective times, you could technically have someone 24 hours a day
off the streets of Newcastle.
It wouldn't be the same person, but you could have
pick him up and do a Big Brother house style thing for you.
Right,
I'm not letting Jordan in the office.
We've already got Jordan. We're not looking after anyone else. Certainly, we're not going to randomly pick people off the streets. Don't hold that. We're sorry if anyone was offended. Jay,
how does it on a daily basis? Why can't I?
Went over this for your personal project, remember? He doesn't.
I don't kidnap people.
Anyone who wanders close enough to him.
Oh. Anyway, last topic, and we're going to say goodbye.
Anyway, I mean, fuck's sake. Yes, last topic. We've spoken about sort of countries before. I think we have about low population, high population, all this sort of stuff. With the Vatican City being one of the smallest countries in the world, that sort of thing. I would like to introduce you. If you are on the stream, you can see on the screen a flag. This is the flag of the Pitcairn Islands, which is officially a group of volcanic islands in southern Pacific Ocean that form the sole British overseas territory in the Pacific Ocean. And they are also the... I've got to find it. They are the... Fuck's sake, load, you bitch. The least populous national jurisdiction in the world. And there's a very good reason for this.
Volcanoes.
It's only got about 50 people living there.
Yep. No. What's the good reason though?
Well, that's the good reason. It's only got about 50 people living there on the islands.
There's only 50 people over there.
Well, here there is.
I know there is.
Most of the people that live there are they descended from 9 mutineers from the ship the Bounty and a handful of Tahitian native captives that were on the ship. And you can see this because it's still apparent from the surnames of many of the islanders. The mutiny in the aftermath has been subject of books and films and things like this. As of 2020, there are 43 permanent inhabitants of these islands. And I do stress this. There's 4 islands: Pitcairn proper, Pitcairn, Henderson, Ducie, and Oeno, scattered across several hundred kilometres of ocean and have a combined land area of about 18 square miles or 47 square kilometres. Henderson Island accounts for 86% of the land area, but only Pitcairn Island is inhabited because the fucking volcanic.
I would live in a volcano.
But here's the best part, though. It's technically owned by England, hence you can see we've got the Union Jack there, the Union flag, right? Its currency is the New Zealand dollar.
It's got an air.
And
it's got it's the native language for it's got a flag.
You know how
no, Jay, it's got air.
No, you know how every country has its GDP. It's sort of how much it contributes to like the global market, all that sort of stuff every year. Most places it's in the millions or the billions.
500 quid.
The 2005 estimate for this country was 217,000 New Zealand dollars, which is fucking amazing when you consider that that's going off the numbers of 50 people living on this fucking island contribute 217,000 to the global market.
I'm joking.
I want to know what the fuck they did, but
I mean, millions.
Yeah, basically, the majority of the people, it's just from
the mutant
descendants.
Right.
That's the word.
Ooh.
I couldn't think of the word. The descendants of people from a mutiny. So we always joke that Australia is like the country of prisoners and everything. This is the country of mutineers.
This country's better than Australia at the minute because Australia has Karen.
It is, and it's the reason. It's the reason why I'm saying if anybody from the Pitcairn Islands is listening or buys anything, or if anybody knows anything from the Pitcairn Islands, get them in touch because I'd love to hear what it's like there because it looks like an idealistic place. It looks like a beautiful place. But also, you've got 40-something people living there. So how does society work and everything? Because it sounds like the ideal society for people like me.
Kyle, we're going to kick you off this podcast for mutiny. You're going to live there forever.
You're not allowed.
You shall not kick me off this podcast. I shall remain forever here, even in ghost form. I will haunt the shit out of you two if I die while this podcast is still going.
Haunt.
It is you haunt.
Oh, damn you.
You haunt. I'm haunting you. I'm gonna haunt you forever.
Your voice isn't.
You little bitch.
It keeps disappearing.
My voice keeps on giving up. My voice gives up. I don't know why.
Kyle, you said Australia you said prisoners, but you meant criminals.
Well, yeah, it's sort of we released the prisoners onto the island. We sent the criminals over, which would have been you had a choice of prison or Australia.
Yeah, and the smart people chose prison.
Sort of like what we did with America, except the smart people chose prison for that one.
That's because an iceberg hit them.
On the way to America.
I don't know. It's getting late.
That was the Titanic. People had already went
on the fucking
there.
on the fucking
People
Titanic.
went there before Titanic.
No, on on the fucking Titanic, there was something like 3 tons of mail there, and or something like that, and a few male officers, like postal mail officers. There's reports, right, from the sinking of the Titanic. These basically postmen risked their lives to go into the depths of the Titanic, get the post, drag tons of post up to the top decks and put them on fucking lifeboats, and they died in the process of doing this. Postmen fucking handled... I don't know if they handled it better or if it was just fucking insanity, to be honest.
This is why the Royal Mail's better than fucking Hermes.
They did their duty to the very end. They made sure people got that fucking
Hermes,
post.
You would have been waiting for that post, and then they would have used it to throw someone to knock them over.
And to end that note, I think we use DBD to ship our merch. So your merch is going to be used to knock out a penguin. To end that, only if you live in Antarctica. We ship to Antarctica. We ship worldwide.
Only if you live in Antarctica. In which case we do premium hoodies.
Go check out our social media at www.TakenOffAir.com. Go follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/TakenOffAir. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/TakenOffAir. Go give us... Also, people on fucking Spotify.
Just go to our website and you'll find everything. TakenOffAir.com.
1,000 listeners a day on Spotify. We can see the analytics. Analytics. We get about 1,000 people a day on Spotify.
More statistics. Don't put them both together.
I have no idea. It's a day.
Is that a day or per episode?
Is this a day or just per episode?
Basically, please, just
I'm going to assume
it's not really ridiculous, but like 500 people can listen to like one episode.
That's ridiculous.
And 25 can listen to another episode, 25 can listen to another episode, and 400 can listen to another episode. That's 1,000 people a day. Sorry.
Jay, don't.
I'm saying it's more.
I don't know.
I'm saying it's more ridiculous the fact that 1,000 people listen to us talking shit on a daily basis.
There's 1,000 people listening.
Yeah, he wasn't calling
on Spotify.
He wasn't talking about Spotify's
we
concept.
only have 20 followers on Spotify. Follow.
Yeah, we've got a very
our listener to follow ratio is
average.
Is ridiculous.
Base than we do. Yeah.
Also, we do.
Yeah.
It's somewhere.
So
just
click the button.
Up,
click the
page,
follow.
TakenOffAir.
Yes.
Presented by Subdeside Productions. Click follow. That's all you need to do. You get notified on Twitter or not on Twitter. You get notified on Spotify when you open the Spotify app of new podcast releases, which is every Friday at exactly 00:01 hours. 1 minute past midnight. Every Friday is a new episode. Every Friday at 7:30 p.m. GMT, we go live. We record weekly in advance. So if you want, so basically, just go on to our website, TakenOffAir.com/live to see live dates. Everything is on there. We have a very special episode coming up soon. It's going to be our 50th episode throughout the whole entire series. We reached 50 episodes. We're going to be celebrating 50 episodes.
Yes, we've actually managed to reach 50.
Combined age. Yeah, combined age.
I mean, combined age.
Jordan's like a dinosaur.
Especially Jordan, he's about 35 and so.
If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, leave a review. Leave a review.
Then buy a decent phone.
In all fairness, I've got Apple Podcasts on MacBook and I've got a Samsung.
It does work.
It works better than Windows.
Now you're stuck with that daft computer that doesn't work.
So, thank you for listening. If you listened this far, thank you so much.
That's because you're using Windows.
Please just subscribe, follow, whatever, share us. That's all we ask for.
Subscribe.
Yes.
Help us
I know we
build
can
our
see
listener
that
base.
you're listening by the figures, but it does also let we know that you care. It lets we know that you are actually paying attention and like how many people are actually listening. Because it's all well and good saying we've got 1,000 people listening a day, but that could be different people every time and all that sort of stuff. If everybody that listens subscribed would be able to see actually how many listeners are listening to us on that network.
Yeah, we've got email,
we could be able to
TakenOffAir@gmail.com.
Yeah,
If you want to make
to
complaints,
hear from you.
complain to the production company at info@streptocide.org. Or just Kyle, just if you want to join in the conversation, we live stream on Twitch, Facebook, Riverside.fm. We simultaneously live stream to several different platforms a day on Friday nights. You can talk to us. We've got chat boxes. We do take calls to the chat box sometimes when we're not rambling. We have a call-in button, so you can come in on riverside.fm/studio/taken-off-air, and you can call in. You can call us. You can join in the conversation. We want to engage with you. Simple as that.
That's not complicated. And if you do...
We want to listen to you. We want to have audience engagement. We want to be able to actually
if you are a
hear
fan
your opinions.
And you do enjoy listening to us every week, then if you tune into our live broadcasts on Riverside, then you are hearing the podcast a week in advance because we're recording on Friday.
Because it takes a certain person so much time to edit it. I made so much for this little thing.
He only has one job, and he takes the piss.
I'm waiting on him doing the thing he did last time where he just slips in a little voice bit going, yes, I do edit you a little bit.
Well, we on a getaway, and like I just left you free. Everything went wrong. A lot of
Nothing went wrong. It was fine.
To join in to help you with your tech issues so I can go back to my getaway.
Yeah. It was still the least amount of issues.
The best thing about this system is I can just use a producer. You can send me a producer link when I'm not here when I'm working away, and I can do everything without you even fucking seeing me or hearing me, and I can still do my job, which is nothing. Why would I? Anyway, thank you for listening to Taking Off Air. We're your hosts, Jay, Kyle, and Stefan, who put his name down Riverside FM as Mike Clitoris. Mike Clitoris, fuck's sake, man. I just noticed that.
It's Mike Clitoris.
Yeah, don't tell him.
Have you just noticed that it's been there for 2 hours?
That's why I do it.
It's been fucking 2 hours. How have you not realised?
No, he's broken.
No, he's broken. We'll say goodbye. Thank you very much for listening. We'll try and fix Jay. I'm sure he's lost a few marbles just from that. See you all next time.
Bye.
Bye.